The night Lena died, the man she had sacrificed everything for was celebrating his wedding to another woman. Music drifted from the brightly lit Moonridge Palace. Golden lanterns hung from every balcony, and hundreds of wolves filled the courtyard below, raising silver cups to Alpha Cole and his wealthy new Luna. Beyond the palace walls, where the celebration could no longer be seen, Lena lay alone in the snow. Her ceremonial dress was torn, blood stained the white fabric around her waist, and each breath felt colder than the last. She could still hear Cole's final words. He had looked at her as though she were a stranger, as though she had not stood beside him when his pack was starving, as though she had not sold her mother's land to pay his warriors, as though she had not risked her life gathering evidence against the uncle who had stolen his inheritance. Cole had taken everything she gave him. Then, the moment the Alpha title became his, he had rejected their mate bond before the entire pack. He had chosen Lady Vanessa of Silvercrest instead. Vanessa came with gold, soldiers, and powerful family connections. Lena came with nothing but loyalty, and Cole had decided loyalty was no longer valuable. When Lena demanded the truth, he ordered his guards to remove her from the palace. When she refused to leave quietly, Vanessa accused her of attempting to poison the wedding wine. No one defended her. Not one of the wolves who had once eaten at her table. Not one of the warriors whose wounds she had treated. Not even Cole. She had been dragged through the courtyard while the pack watched. Before the gates closed behind her, Cole approached and bent close enough for only her to hear. He told her that she had always been useful, but she had never been worthy of becoming Luna. Then he turned away. Lena wandered into the frozen forest with those words inside her heart. By dawn, her body was too weak to continue. She collapsed beneath a dead oak tree, while the distant palace bells announced Cole's marriage. Her wolf had already fallen silent. The bond that had once connected her to Cole felt like a blade twisting through her chest. As darkness covered her vision, Lena made one final promise. If the moon goddess gave her another life, she would never love Cole again. She would never build his future. She would never beg him to choose her. And when he finally understood what he had lost, she would be far beyond his reach. Lena closed her eyes. The cold disappeared. Then, someone began pounding on a door. Lena woke with a violent gasp. Warm sunlight touched her face. She was lying beneath a faded blue blanket, inside a small room she had not seen in years. For several seconds, she could not breathe. Her childhood bedroom stood exactly as she remembered it. The wooden shelves were filled with dried herbs. Her mother's silver comb rested beside the mirror. A pale green dress hung from the wardrobe door. Nothing had been destroyed. Nothing had been taken by Cole's creditors. Nothing had been burned during the battle for Moonridge. The pounding came again. A familiar voice called from outside, telling Lena that she would miss the choosing festival if she did not hurry. Lena stared at her hands. There were no scars around her wrists, no bruises from Cole's guards, no blood. She stumbled toward the mirror. A 19-year-old girl stared back at her. Her dark hair reached her waist, her cheeks were full of life, and the exhaustion that had followed her through her final years was gone. Lena touched her reflection. Then she saw the date marked on the wooden calendar beside the window. It was the day of the choosing festival, the day she had first met Cole, 7 years before her death. Lena's knees nearly gave way. She remembered everything that was supposed to happen. That afternoon, she would enter the Moonridge gathering field with hundreds of young wolves from the surrounding territories. At sunset, the unmated wolves would shift, allowing the moon goddess to reveal destined bonds. Cole would find her beside the river. The moment their eyes met, the mate connection would awaken. He would take her hands and promise that no power in the world could separate them. Lena would believe him. By the end of that night, she would already be planning how to help him reclaim the alpha position stolen from his father. But this time, Lena knew where every promise would lead. She knew which friends would betray her. She knew which battles Cole would ask her to fight. She knew the exact moment his love would turn into ambition, and she knew that hidden behind his charming smile was a man who would sacrifice anyone for power. Lena dressed slowly. She chose a simple black gown instead of the pale blue one she had worn in her first life. Before leaving her room, she opened a small box beneath her bed. Inside rested the moonstone necklace her mother had given her before she died. In Lena's first life, she had sold it to buy weapons for Cole's rebellion. This time, she fastened it around her neck. Nothing belonging to her would ever be spent on Cole again. The Choosing Festival filled the valley beneath Moonridge Mountain. Music echoed between the trees, pack banners moved in the wind, and young wolves gathered around long wooden tables covered with food. Lena remembered every face. There was Mara, the friend who would one day testify against her. There was Elder Thomas, who would accept Cole's gold and declare Lena unfit to become Luna. And near the raised platform stood Vanessa Silvercrest, already dressed like a queen, even though she had not yet set her eyes on Cole. Lena felt no fear when she saw them. Only clarity. She had already lived through the worst thing they could do to her. As sunset approached, the crowd moved toward the river. Lena's heartbeat remained calm until a familiar scent crossed the clearing. Cedarwood and rain. Cole. He emerged from between the trees wearing a dark ceremonial coat. He looked exactly as he had on the day she first loved him. Young, handsome, and apparently gentle. There was no alpha crown on his head yet. His uncle still controlled Moonridge, and Cole was merely the forgotten son of a dead leader. His eyes searched the crowd. Then they found Lena. The mate bond struck them both. Silver light flashed behind Lena's eyes. Her wolf surged forward with a cry of recognition. For one dangerous instant, the memories of her first life were drowned beneath the overwhelming pull of destiny. Cole stepped toward her. A smile spread across his face. He whispered the word every wolf waited a lifetime to hear. Mate. The crowd turned toward them. Lena remembered how she had once run into his arms. This time, she remained still. Cole reached for her hand. Lena stepped back. Confusion replaced his smile. He asked whether she could feel the bond. Lena could feel it. It burned through her chest, demanding that she surrender to the future the moon goddess had chosen. But Lena had already seen that future. She looked directly into Cole's eyes and rejected him before the entire festival. The valley fell silent. Cole's face lost all color. The mate bond cracked between them. Pain tore through Lena's body, but she did not look away. She declared that she would not accept him as her mate, her alpha, or her future. Gasps moved through the gathered wolves. No one rejected a destined alpha heir, especially not a woman from a nearly forgotten family. Cole stared at her as though she had struck him. He demanded to know what he had done. Lena almost laughed. He had not done it yet. That was the strange cruelty of rebirth. She carried wounds he had not yet created. She remembered crimes he had not yet committed. To everyone else, Cole was innocent. But Lena knew that a blade did not become harmless simply because it had not yet drawn blood. She told him only that the moon goddess might create a bond, but she could not force Lena to trust the man attached to it. Then Lena walked away. every step felt like tearing a chain from her soul. Behind her, Cole called her name. She never turned around. Near the edge of the festival grounds, a group of young warriors burst into laughter. They were surrounding a man carrying a bundle of firewood. He was tall, but his shoulders bent slightly, as though years of hardship had taught him to make himself smaller. A scar crossed the left side of his face, beginning above his eyebrow and disappearing beneath his jaw. His clothes were worn. His boots were covered in mud. Lena recognized him. Rowan. In her first life, Rowan had worked in Moonridge's stables. The warriors mocked him because he rarely spoke. Some called him Broken Fang because he had lost part of one canine tooth during a border attack. Cole had treated Rowan as though he were barely more than a servant. Yet Lena remembered something no one at the festival knew. On the night she was driven from the palace, Rowan had been the only person who tried to follow her. Cole's soldiers had beaten him and locked him inside the Western guardhouse. Lena had discovered the truth only moments before her death, when one sympathetic maid confessed that Rowan had begged them to let him search the forest. He had tried to save Lena when everyone else abandoned her. Now, 7 years earlier, he stood alone while young nobles pushed him from one side to another. The bundle of wood fell from his arms. Lena walked into the circle. The laughter stopped. She knelt and began gathering the fallen pieces. Rowan stared at her. Up close, the scar across his face looked deeper than she remembered. His eyes were grey, calm, and strangely powerful. One of the warriors warned Lena that Rowan was cursed. Another claimed that his wolf had disappeared years ago. Lena stood and handed the firewood back to him. She said she would rather stand beside a cursed man than kneel before a cruel one. Cole heard her. He was watching from across the clearing. The rejection had left his face pale, but when he saw Lena beside Rowan, his humiliation hardened into anger. Lena did not care. She asked Rowan whether he wanted to leave the festival. He hesitated. Then he nodded. They walked into the forest together. Neither of them spoke for several minutes. Lena remembered Rowan as quiet, but she now noticed that his silence was not weakness. He observed everything. He heard distant movement before she did. He adjusted their path when he sensed wolves approaching from the north. When Lena's shoe caught beneath a root, his hand moved quickly enough to steady her, but he released her the moment she regained her balance. There was care in his restraint. Cole had always touched Lena as though she belonged to him. Rowan touched her as though she belonged to herself. At the edge of a small lake, Lena asked why he had attended the choosing festival. Rowan explained that the stable master had sent him to collect wood after the celebration. He had never expected to find a mate. Lena asked whether he wanted one. His expression changed. He said a woman who became bound to him would inherit enemies she did not understand. Lena felt a chill. In her first life, Rowan had seemed like an ordinary servant, but his words did not sound ordinary. Before she could question him further, a howl rose in the distance. It was followed by 3 more. Rowan immediately moved in front of Lena. Rogue wolves emerged from the trees. There were 6 of them, each wearing the black markings of the Ashclaw Raiders. Lena remembered this attack. During her first life, the rogues had entered the festival and injured more than 20 wolves. Cole had later claimed credit for driving them away, and the victory had become his first step toward earning the pack's respect. But Lena had never witnessed the beginning of the battle. Now she understood why. The rogues were not attacking at random. Their leader looked directly at Rowan. He called him by another name, Kale. Rowan became completely still. The rogue leader ordered him to return home before the throne fell into the wrong hands. Lena barely had time to understand the words before the rogues attacked. Rowan moved with terrifying speed. The quiet stable worker disappeared. In his place stood a warrior trained for war. He caught the first rogue by the throat and threw him against a tree. He blocked a blade with his bare forearm, twisted the attacker's wrist, and drove him into the ground. Lena had seen Cole fight many times. Cole fought to be admired. Rowan fought to survive. Every movement was controlled, efficient, and brutal. When two rogues charged Lena, she shifted into her wolf. Her white fur flashed through the trees. In her first life, she had hidden her strength so Cole would never feel threatened by her. This time, Lena released all of it. She struck one rogue from the side and tore the weapon from the other's hand. Rowan glanced at her, and for the first time, surprise broke through his calm expression. They fought together as though they had trained beside each other for years. When the final rogue fell, the leader escaped into the forest. But not before warning Rowan that the Blood Moon Council had learned he was alive. Silence returned to the lake. Rowan looked at Lena's injured shoulder. She shifted back, covering herself with the cloak he immediately offered. Lena asked who Cale was. Rowan did not answer. Instead, he asked why she had rejected Cole. Lena told him that they both had secrets. The difference was that hers had already killed her once. Rowan studied her face. He seemed to understand that she was speaking more literally than she intended, but he did not press her. By the time they returned to the festival, Cole had gathered a group of warriors and announced that he had discovered signs of a rogue attack. Then he saw the blood on Rowan's clothes. The crowd demanded an explanation. Cole accused Rowan of bringing the rogues into Moonridge. It was exactly the kind of lie Lena remembered. Cole did not need evidence when suspicion could benefit him. He ordered the guards to seize Rowan. Lena stepped between them. She announced that Rowan had saved her life. Cole claimed that she had been manipulated. Lena asked how Cole could know what happened when he had been safely standing at the festival. Laughter moved through the younger wolves. Cole's humiliation deepened. Vanessa Silvercrest watched everything from beside the elders. Lena recognized the calculation in her eyes. Vanessa had not cared about Cole before that day, but she cared about men who could become powerful. And a rejected alpha heir, desperate to prove himself, would be easy to control. The future was already changing. That night, Rowan disappeared. Lena searched the stables and found only a small piece of paper beneath his sleeping mat. It contained no farewell, only a symbol drawn in black ink. A crown surrounded by 7 claw marks. Lena had seen the symbol once before. It had been carved into the ancient throne of the Northern Kingdom, a throne left empty after the Alpha King and his family were murdered 15 years earlier. According to legend, the king's youngest son had survived. No body had ever been found. Lena's hands trembled. The missing prince would now be 26 years old, the same age as Rowan. 3 days later, Cole arrived at Lena's home. He brought flowers and wore the patient expression that had once convinced her he was different from other alpha heirs. He apologized for his anger at the festival. He claimed the rejected bond was affecting his judgment. Then he told Lena they could still build a future together, even without accepting the mate bond immediately. Lena almost admired his speed. He had already changed tactics. In her first life, Cole gained influence using Lena's knowledge of healing, politics, and pack finances. Now that she had rejected him, he needed another way to keep her close. Lena refused. Cole's kindness vanished. He reminded her that her family owed taxes to Moonridge. Lena remembered what came next. Within a month, Cole would convince her to give him the records, proving that his uncle had stolen PAC funds. He would present the evidence as his own discovery and win the elders' support. Those records were hidden beneath Lena's mother's abandoned clinic. Cole did not yet know where they were, but Lena did. That same night, she removed every document and carried them into the forest. She intended to take them to the regional council before Cole could use them. Halfway through the northern pass, masked wolves surrounded her. Lena reached for her blade. Then Rowan stepped from among them. He was no longer wearing a stable worker's clothes. A dark coat covered his shoulders, fastened with a silver clasp shaped like a wolf's head. The men around him lowered their gazes when he approached. Lena held up the paper bearing the crown symbol. She called him Kale. Rowan's eyes darkened. He admitted that Rowan was the name given to him by the family who hid him after his parents were murdered. His true name was Kale Draven. He was the last surviving heir to the Northern Throne, the missing Alpha King. But Kale had no kingdom. The 7 northern packs had been divided among council lords who preferred ruling without a king. For years, they had hunted him, spreading rumors that the lost prince was weak, deformed, or dead. The scar on his face had come from the night his family was attacked. His wolf had not disappeared. Kale had suppressed it to prevent royal trackers from sensing his bloodline. Lena asked why he had hidden in Moonridge. Kale explained that Cole's uncle had helped finance the murder of the royal family. He had entered the pack as a servant to search for proof. Lena looked down at the documents in her hands. The stolen financial records contained payments made to mercenaries 15 years earlier. Payments ordered by Cole's uncle and approved by Cole's father. The history Cole had told Lena in her first life had been a lie. Cole's father had not been an innocent alpha betrayed by his brother. Both men had participated in the destruction of Kale's family. Cole had known. That was why he had needed the records. Not to expose his uncle. To destroy evidence connecting his own bloodline to the royal massacre. Lena felt the pieces of her first life rearranging themselves. Cole had never been fighting for justice. He had been burying the truth. She gave the records to Kale. He asked what she wanted in return. Lena said she wanted nothing. Kale looked almost offended. He told her that everyone wanted something. Lena replied that in her first life, she had wanted love so badly that she turned herself into a ladder for someone else to climb. In this life, she wanted only the freedom to decide where her own path led. Kale promised that no one in his company would command her. Lena agreed to help him decode the financial records. Over the following weeks, she traveled with Kale's hidden warriors through abandoned northern outposts. The world beyond Moonridge was more dangerous than Lena remembered. Council spies searched every road. Rogue packs sold information to the highest bidder, and villages loyal to the royal family had been punished for years. Yet beside Kale, Lena began to feel something she had never experienced with Cole. Partnership. Kale listened when she spoke. He did not take credit for her ideas. When Lena discovered that the payment records contained hidden dates, Kale announced the discovery to his warriors using her name. When she warned him that one of his commanders was secretly communicating with the council, Kale investigated, instead of accusing her of jealousy. The commander was exposed before he could betray them. Slowly, Kale stopped hiding his true nature from her. He was not cold. He was careful. He had lost his parents, his brothers, and almost every person who had once protected him. Trust had become a luxury he could not easily afford. At night, when the camp grew quiet, Lena sometimes found him sitting alone near the fire. He would run his fingers over the scar on his face, as though remembering the blade that created it. The world mocked the scar because it made him look broken. Lena saw it as proof that he had survived. Their connection deepened without the force of a mate bond. Kale never promised her forever. Lena did not ask him to. But whenever danger approached, they found each other first. Months passed. Moonridge changed in their absence. Cole's uncle died under mysterious circumstances, allowing Cole to claim leadership earlier than he had in Lena's first life. But without Lena's strategies, Cole struggled to control the pack. Food reserves disappeared, alliances failed, several respected warriors challenged his decisions. Vanessa arrived with Silvercrest gold and offered to become his Luna. Cole accepted, yet he continued sending messages to Lena. At first, the letters contained apologies, then promises, then threats. Cole claimed that Lena had been confused by the rejected mate bond. He insisted that she belonged in Moonridge. When she ignored him, he announced that she had stolen pack documents and joined a dangerous rebel. A bounty was placed on her head. Lena burned every notice she found. Kale did not. He kept one. When Lena asked why, he said he wanted to remember the kind of man who believed she could be owned. The royal uprising began during the first winter storm. Kale's supporters captured 3 northern fortresses in a single night. Villagers raised the old crown banner. Warriors who had served his father emerged from hiding. The Blood Moon Council responded by declaring Kale an imposter. They demanded proof of his identity. The proof rested within the Moonridge Palace. On the night of the royal massacre, Kale's mother had sent the royal seal to a trusted alpha, Cole's father. The seal had remained hidden in Moonridge ever since. Without it, Kale could win a war but still struggle to unite the 7 packs. Lena knew where Cole kept his family relics. She had organized the palace archives in her first life. Kale refused to let her return. He said Cole wanted her alive, which made Moonridge more dangerous for her than any battlefield. Lena reminded Kale that she had once died outside those walls because she allowed Cole to decide her worth. She would not spend her second life hiding from him. They entered Moonridge during Vanessa's coronation celebration. The palace looked almost identical to the night Lena died. Golden lanterns filled the courtyard. Music flowed from the balconies. Wolves raised silver cups to Cole and his chosen Luna. For a moment, Lena stood frozen beneath the gate. Her body remembered the snow, the blood, the sound of Cole's wedding bells as she took her final breath. Kale touched her hand. He did not pull her forward. He simply waited. Lena tightened her fingers around his. Then she entered the palace alive. They reached the archive chamber without being seen. The royal seal was hidden inside a stone compartment beneath Cole's father's portrait. Lena removed it. Before they could leave, the chamber doors closed. Cole stood on the other side. Vanessa was beside him, surrounded by guards. Cole smiled. He had expected Lena to return. One of Kale's commanders had betrayed them. Cole ordered Kale to surrender. He promised to spare Lena if she publicly declared that the missing prince had manipulated her. Lena looked at the man she had once loved more than her own life. Cole now wore the alpha crown she had helped him earn in another lifetime. But without her sacrifices behind it, the crown looked small. He asked whether she truly believed the scarred servant could give her more than the alpha of Moonridge. Lena answered that Kale had already given her something Cole never had: respect. Cole's expression twisted. He ordered the guards to kill Kale. Before they could move, Vanessa cried out. Smoke poured through the palace corridors. Outside, hundreds of wolves were shouting. Kale's supporters had entered Moonridge. But the rebellion had not begun with an attack. The people of Moonridge had opened the gates themselves. Cole's warriors had spent months without proper food or wages, while Vanessa's family carried gold from the pack treasury. The servants had seen Cole's cruelty. the elders had discovered his lies. And the people Lena once helped had finally understood how much of Moonridge's survival had depended on the woman Cole discarded. Chaos swept through the palace. Cale fought the guards while Lena protected the royal seal. Vanessa attempted to escape through a hidden passage, but Cole caught her arm. He demanded that Silvercrest send soldiers. Vanessa laughed. She revealed that her family had never intended to save him. They wanted access to Moonridge's silver mines. The moment the mines were secured, Cole had become unnecessary. Cole stared at her in disbelief. For the first time, he experienced the same betrayal he had once given Lena. Vanessa tore the lunar crown from her head and fled. Cole turned toward Lena. He no longer looked like an alpha. He looked like the desperate young man she had met at the choosing festival. He blamed the mate's rejection for everything that had happened. He claimed Lena had changed him by abandoning him. Lena felt the last remnant of their broken bond stir inside her chest. In her first life, she had carried the guilt for every cruel choice Cole made. She had believed that more patience, more sacrifice, or more love could turn him into a better man. Now she understood. Love did not create character. Power only revealed it. Lena told Cole that she had not ruined him. She had simply stopped saving him from himself. Cole lunged for the royal seal. Cale intercepted him. The two men fought beneath the portrait of Cole's father. Cole was strong, but his strength came from rage. Cale came from years of discipline. He disarmed Cole and forced him to his knees. Cale could have killed him. Instead, he handed judgment to the wolves of Moonridge. The pack stripped Cole of his title. The elders ordered him imprisoned until he could stand trial for treason, theft, and his family's involvement in the royal massacre. As the guards dragged him away, Cole called Lena's name. He begged her to remember that they were mates. Lena looked at him one final time. Then she broke the last thread of their bond. Cole screamed as the connection disappeared. Lena felt only peace. At dawn, Cale stood before the 7 northern pack leaders. The recovered royal seal glowed beneath the first light of morning. One by one, the leaders lowered their heads. Cale Draven, once mocked as a broken stable servant, was recognized as the rightful Alpha King. The wolves filled the Moonridge Valley, waiting for him to choose a queen. Many expected Cale to summon Lena. He did not. Instead, he approached her away from the crowd. He told her that he would not replace one unwanted destiny with another. He would not ask her to stand beside him, because she had helped him win a throne. He would not call her his reward. Then Cale lowered himself onto one knee, not as a king commanding loyalty, as a man offering his heart. He asked Lena to choose him only if the choice belonged entirely to her. Lena looked at the scarred warrior everyone had mocked. She remembered the quiet stable worker who had tried to save her in another life, the prince who had hidden his power rather than use it to control the weak, the man who had walked beside her without demanding that she make herself smaller. Lena had once believed that rejecting Cole was the greatest decision of her second life. She now understood that rejection had only opened the door. The true victory was learning to choose without fear. She took Cale's hand. At that moment, silver light spread across the valley. A mate bond awakened between them. Not the old bond forced upon her at the choosing festival. A new bond. One formed after trust, sacrifice, and love had already taken root. Cale stared at her in wonder. The moon goddess had not punished Lena for rejecting the wrong mate. She had waited for Lena to choose the right one. Months later, Lena returned to the place where she had died in her first life. The dead oak tree still stood beyond the Moonridge walls, but there was no blood in the snow, no wedding music, no broken woman waiting for death. Cale stood beside her, wearing the crown of the Northern Kingdom. Lena wore no crown that day. She had told him she would accept the title of queen only after the new council granted women the right to own land, lead warrior units, and reject political marriages without punishment. Kale had agreed before she finished speaking. Together, they planted a young silverwood tree beside the old oak. Lena pressed her hand against the earth. Somewhere beyond time, she imagined the woman she had once been lying beneath that tree, believing her life had ended because one man had refused to love her. Lena wished she could reach through the darkness and tell her the truth. Cole's rejection had never proven that she was unworthy. His betrayal had never diminished the value of her loyalty. And death had not been the end of her story. It had been the moment the story finally became her own. Years later, songs would be written about the return of the Alpha King. They would describe the battles, the royal seal, and the mourning 7 packs bowed beneath one crown. But the oldest wolves would say the kingdom was not truly reborn when Kale reclaimed his throne. It was reborn on the day a young woman stood before destiny and refused to repeat the life that had destroyed her. Because sometimes the most powerful act is not defeating an enemy. Sometimes it is recognizing the moment the past tries to claim you again and choosing to walk away. Lena had spent her first life building an alpha who ruined her. In her second, she built nothing for a man who would not build beside her. And when she finally became Queen of the North, she did not stand behind the Alpha King. She stood at his side. Not because fate had placed her there, because she had chosen him, and he had chosen her. Every single day.